we went ahead and looked at the stigma in this part of a flower. In the middle, there is that part, but on top of it, there is that part we call the stigma, which receives pollen grains. Talking about pollen grains, where are they produced? We say they are produced in the anther. And here we have the anthers. The anthers, they produce the pollen grains. And very many other parts we looked at. However, there are some parts that we left out. Which are some of these parts? They included the ovules. The ovules. Children, when you open up a flower, like I could open up this one, when you open up the flower, down the ovary, you will get some, in the ovary, you will get small seeds inside. Small, and it's those small things that we are calling the ovules. And the ovules turn into seeds. The ovules grow into seeds. So the first part that we'll look at, the other part you're looking at, this is going to be part number 1. We are calling it the ovules. The ovules. And we are saying the ovules grow into seeds. We are saying the ovules grow into seeds. So if you have ever opened up a flower, be it maize, be it a mango, be it an avocado, be it an orange, those small things you see inside are the ones we are calling ovules. And the ovules grow into seeds. So every time you get a flower and you spoil it, you're not going to get seeds. You're not going to get a fruit out of that plant, because those small things are the ones that are growing into seeds. Let's look at another part that we didn't look at. If you look at our stigma, again, it is up. But there is that tube. There is that tube. There is that part connecting from down here up to up. And this part of the plant is the one we call the style. The style. So our next point, number 2, part number 2, that we want to look at is the one we call the style. Children, has the style got any function? Let's discover this when we come back from this short break.
Time now for Fan Fact.
Welcome back from that short break, children. Before we went for the break, I had written a word on the blackboard, and the word is style. And the style is also part of the plant. And this time, it is of a leaf. If you get a flower, there is that part we are calling the style. And the question is, has it got any use? Has it got any function? And the answer is, to help us do that, we can try to draw out here our diagram, a simple diagram, and see. If we have our stigma up there, this tube going down like that to the ovary is the one we are calling the style. And my question is, has it got a work? Has it got a function? And the answer is yes. What is its use? the style joins the ovary to the stigma. The style joins this part to that part. It joins that part. So we are saying that the style joins the stigma down to the ovary. And how important is that one? When pollen comes and falls onto this, it is going to move down this tube until it goes down into the ovary. So we are saying that the style joins the stigma to the ovary. So we note that point down and say the style joins the stigma to the ovary. Those are very, very important parts in a flower, the stigma and the ovary. How important is the stigma? The stigma receives, here we are, receives the pollen. Then the pollen grain moves down through the style to the ovary. So we are right when we say that the style joins the stigma to the ovary. The style joins the stigma to the ovary. And we're saying pollen moves down into the ovary through the style. Pollen moves down through the style to the ovary. Or you could say the style is the tube through which pollen moves from the stigma to the ovary. So we can note that one down and say the style joins the stigma to the ovary. Children, talking about the style, there is yet another part which also has the same function. What's that part? If you look at your flower again, if I drew here, so we have our anthers here, but there is that part that joins it down there. Here you have your anthers, but we are interested in that tube there. It's this tube that we are calling the filament. And the question is, has the filament got any function? And the answer is yes. The filament has a function. What's the function? The function is to hold the anther up there, to hold the anthers. So the filament holds the anthers. So we're looking at point number 3, and you're looking at that part called filament. We're having a part called filament. After looking at the style, and we say the filament holds. The filament holds. The filament holds the anthers. The filament holds. The filament holds the anthers. You can look at this. There you have your anther, and then there is that part there holding it. Going back to our flower, here we are. We have our anther head here. We have the smaller parts here. You can see them around the flower. These are the ones we are calling the anther heads. But this tube here going down, this part here going down, is the one we are calling the filament. And what's its work? Is to hold the anther. Now children, after looking at those different parts, I bring in another part. Which part do I bring in? I write a name which goes for a group of parts. We are writing the part, and the name of the part that I would look at, called maybe part number 4, is the one that I'm calling stamen. In our flower, you didn't see the stamen, but I'm saying there is a part called the stamen. What is this part? What makes up this part? Let's discover this when we come back from this short break.
Do you know your plant's an animal?
Welcome back from that short break, children. Before you went for the break, we had looked at yet other parts of a flower and their functions. Which were these parts? We had looked at the first part being the ovules. The ovules, and we said the ovules grow into seeds. When you open the ovary, the small things you find inside are the ones we call ovules that grow into seeds. The style, we say the style is this tube that joins the stigma to the ovary. This is the stigma and this is the ovary. So I say the style joins the stigma to the ovary, and pollen moves through the style from the stigma to the ovary. And then lastly, we looked at the filament and say the filament holds the anthers. Here you have your anthers. These are the anthers. The anthers are here, but we are having that tube hole taking it down. We are having that part there calling the filament. And what have we agreed? We are saying the filament holds the anthers up there. And then I wrote on the blackboard a word. Which word did I write? The word is stamen. Stamen. When we are looking at parts of the flower, stamen was not among them. But here I'm writing the word stamen. Children, we are learning science and we want to increase on our words. And the new word today is stamen. What do we mean by stamen? Stamen is very simple. How simple is it? It simply means the male part of the flower. You see, children? Very simple. The stamen is the male part of the flower. So we shall say the stamen is the male part of the flower. Is the male part of the flower. The male part of the flower is the one we call the stamen. Which are the parts that make up the male part? So we are writing down and say the stamen. The stamen is made up of, the first part is the one we call the anthers. The anthers, followed by the filament. Those are the parts that make up the stamen. Children, that is the stamen, the male part of the flower. And if I told you to draw for me, can you draw for me the stamen? And the answer is yes. Let's look at this. How does the stamen look like? The stamen in your examination, they will write for you this, and they'd expect you to have an answer. So it's made up of the anthers and the filament. There we are. So we have that. So what are the parts that make up the stamen? We have the anthers, and then we have the filament. After talking about the male, we should also talk about the female. The female part of the flower. And the name given to the female part of the flower, children, is what we'll be calling the carpel. So this becomes our point number 5. We have what we call the carpel. The carpel is the female part of the flower. So we shall say, this is the female. The female part of the flower. The carpel, this is the female part of the flower. What are the parts? The carpel includes, the carpel has these parts, Which are the parts? Again, children, we have, the first one is going to be the stigma. Children, the stigma. In addition to that, we shall have our tube called the style. The style is also part of the carpel. And then after the style, we have the ovary. The ovary. The ovary as part of the carpel. And if I told you to draw for me, you would draw for me something similar to this. Children, that is going to be our stigma. Down that, you'll get that tube we are calling the style. Down the style, you'll get that part called the ovary. So, this part there is our stigma, followed by the style, followed by the ovary. What are those? They form the female part of the flower called the carpel. The carpel is the female part of the flower, made up of the stigma, the style, and the ovary. So we continue looking at the functions of the different parts. What is happening here? I'm putting parts together. The stigma, the style, and the ovary, collectively called the carpel. And then the anthers and the filament, collectively called the stamen. So children, these are the parts of the flower that we are looking at, in addition to those that we looked at in our previous lesson. Which are these that we've looked at today? I have the ovules, and we said the ovules grow into seeds. The ovules grow into seeds. And then we have the style. We are saying the style joins the stigma to the ovary, and is that tube through which pollen moves. And if you carefully follow my diagram here, I have the stigma up and then the ovary down. In between there, I have the style. That tube joining the stigma to the ovary, through which pollen moves, is the one we are calling the style. We went ahead, children, and looked at another part which almost has the same function. Which part was that? The filament. And we said the filament holds, like I'm holding. I know at home you have ever held a baby. When the baby is crying, you hold. So what happens to the filament? It holds the anthers. The filament holds the anthers. And when you go down, you look at another part called the stamen. And we are saying, what is the stamen? The stamen is the name given to the male part of the flower. The male part of the flower. Like you know, in creation, God made both man and woman, the male and the female. For this case, for the plants, the male part, we call it a stamen. The stamen is the male part of the flower. It's made up of the anthers. You can look at your anthers. Here they are. The anthers and the filament all together form the stamen. And then when you go ahead, since you have looked at the male, it will also be good to look at the female. And the female part of the flower is the one we call the carpel. The carpel is the female part of the flower. The carpel has these parts. Which are the parts, children? We have the ovary, we have the stigma, we have the style. Together, they form what we call the carpel, being the female part of the flower. And when you draw it in your diagram, you will have here the stigma that we already know receives the pollen grains. Then the style, the tube through which pollen moves down. And then lastly, the ovary. This part, if you have the ovules are here. We are having the ovules. So the ovules and the ovary together form what we call the pistil. Pistil is our other point number 6 that we need to look at. There is that part we are calling the pistil. The pistil is that part of the plant that is made up of the ovary and the ovules. The ovary and the ovules together form the pistil. Which new words have we looked at? Stamen, the male part. Carpel, the female part. Pistil, having the ovules and the ovary. With that, children, we come to the end of our lesson. Till we meet again, may God bless you.
Sarah says, healthy child, happy parent. That's all, kids. Bye-bye.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Speed is how fast something moves. Maybe this expression has something to do with car racing.
Jonathan, did you get a dog?
No, I'm just watching Ashley's dog this weekend, so I'm getting up to speed on basic dog care.
Oh dear.
What?
Look, her dog can be a little, unusual.
It's just a dog, right?
If you get up to speed, you learn information that is necessary to do something. Sometimes you need to get up to speed to know as much as someone else. Think of it as an information race. And that's English in a Minute.
Yes, my friends, welcome to my school. I'm Teacher Lillian, going to take you through our English lesson. In our English lesson, to bring up the topic, we are looking at the words we use to describe people and objects. And today, before we look at our today's lesson, let's remind ourselves about what we've been looking at in our previous lessons. We are looking at the words we use to describe people. People have different words, people have different way they were created. So you can talk about a person by looking at the appearance of the person. Some people are fat, others are thin, others are tall, others are short, beautiful, and so on. So those are the words we are still looking at. So our topic, we are looking at the words we use to describe people. So this is our topic, describing people and objects. As I said, that in particular, we are looking at the words we use to describe people. Describing people. Yes, as I've reminded you that in our previous lesson, we looked at those particular words which we use to describe people. We graded them. Like when you're talking about one person, we also looked at when you're talking about two people having the same adjective word or the same word which describes them. We also looked at the word we use when you are picking one person from a group. So we looked at all those. And today, we are going to look at the possessive pronoun. The possessive pronoun. Possessive pronoun. Yes, before we look at the possessive pronoun, let's ask ourselves, what is a pronoun? Anybody who knows the answer? Yes, that's okay. Remember, when we are describing people, we are describing nouns. Adjective, an adjective, it's a word which describes a noun. Now, if we talk about a pronoun, we are looking at the words which are used instead of a noun. For example, if I want to talk about John, I might not pronounce the name John and then I pronounce he. That is a pronoun. If I want to talk about Jane, I might not pronounce the name or say the name Jane, then I say she. Or the teacher. Myself, all I talk about me. That's the word used instead of a noun. And in our case today, we are looking at the possessive pronoun. What do we mean by a possessive pronoun? Yes, we are going to talk about the nouns or the pronouns which bring up something which belongs to somebody. For example, if I say, this is my school, this is my school. Or if I say, the school belongs to me. That's why I welcomed you by saying, welcome to my school. The school belongs to me, which means the school is mine. So mine is a possessive pronoun. As our first possessive word, we are going to look at mine. Next, if I say, I might go to your garden, and then I look at the different crops which are in your garden. Maybe in your garden you have beans, you have sweet potatoes, there are pumpkins, bananas, cassava, and so on. Now when I look at those crops, I will say those crops belongs to them. Those crops belongs to them. So it is their crops, which means our pronoun possessive case, it is theirs. I'm talking about their crops in their garden. Next, let's look at our next possessive case. For example, maybe your mom has some clothes around. She has some shoes, dresses. Then what do I have to say? That dress or that nice dress belongs to her. Who? My mother. That nice dress belongs to her. So in our possessive case we say it is hers. It is hers because it belongs to her. That's okay. Let's get our next possessive case. For example, we are going to look at our next possessive case word. But before we bring the fourth one, let's go for a short break. We shall come back and we'll continue with our possessive pronoun words.
Time now for Fan Fact.
Yes, welcome back from that break. I hope you have enjoyed it, my friends. Yes, we are together. Today, we are looking at the possessive pronoun. The possessive pronoun. And we first of all looked at the pronoun and we said, what is a pronoun? We said, or somebody gave us a nice answer by saying that a pronoun, that's the word used instead of a noun. And what are we doing? We are trying to describe our nouns. That's why we are bringing in the pronoun. And today, we are looking at the possessive pronoun. So far, we have looked at the first one as mine. That is a possessive pronoun. Our next one is theirs as a possessive pronoun. Our next one, hers. So, we went for a short break. When we're supposed to get our next word in the possessive case, for example, I can look at you and look at you when you have put on your nice coat, and I'll say, oh, that coat belongs to you because the way it is fitting you, really it belongs to you. And what is our possessive pronoun? We say, that coat is yours. That coat is yours. Yes, let's get the next one. We might have some property, me and you. That's all. The property belongs to us. The property belongs to us. For example, we have maybe cows, we have houses, we have cars, we have land. Then we can say that property belongs to us. I am included, you are also included because it is our property. It belongs to us. So in our possessive pronoun we say it is ours. It is ours. My friends, there are very many possessive pronoun case words which we can use when we are trying to describe our nouns, or as we want to bring up our adjective words which we use to talk about different objects or different people. And in our possessive case today, we have tried to get only these, but I know there are very many. As we go on getting different examples, you'll be able to get more. Let's read through our possessive pronoun words. Mine, theirs, hers, yours. Let's add s. That coat, it is yours. And our last word today, it is ours. Now, let's get our simple sentences and we see how we can use a possessive pronoun after reading our sentences. That is our first sentence. We want to use a possessive pronoun. Can we read together? And we say, this school belongs to me. This school belongs to me. So, because it belongs to me, therefore it is, yes, very good. You say, it is mine. We are getting our possessive case after reading our simple sentence so that we can see how we use it as we describe different people. Let's get our next sentence. Our next sentence. Remember, we are looking at the possessive pronoun, and we want to see how we can get them from these different sentences we are getting. We read it together. The wooden table belongs to them. For example, in a school, we might have different tables somewhere, or in the staff room, or in another class. Then we come and you'll be able to identify it, and you say, the wooden table over there belongs to them. So, in our possessive case, we say, it is theirs. I hope, my friends, you're following as we get the different way of using the possessive pronoun. Let's get our next sentence. Our next sentence. We read it together. That's good. We begin. Those shoes belong to Mrs. Mugabe. Read it again. Those shoes belong to Mrs. Mugabe. Remember, we are looking at the possessive case, the possessive pronoun. Now, we shall get the possessive pronoun word after we've come back from that short break.
Spell it out!
My friends, once again, welcome back from that short break. Yes, I hope you have enjoyed it so well. Let's continue with our lesson for today. My friends, before we went for that short break, remember, we were looking at the possessive pronoun. And we said with our possessive pronoun, we are trying to look at the words which we use to describe different things, different objects, and different people. In our case here, we are looking at the describing words which we use to describe people. And today, we try to pick up our possessive pronouns. Because remember, we first of all looked at the pronouns, and we said a pronoun, it's a word used instead of a noun. We have looked at mine, mine, theirs, hers, yours, and ours. And we said there are very many. For today, we have tried to pick up only those ones, so that during your free time, you will be able to get more possessive pronouns. Now, we got our simple sentences here. Because we said we are trying to see what belongs to the person, what you possess. Our sentence 1 says, this school belongs to me, which means it is mine. This school belongs to me, which means it is mine. Our next one said, the wooden table belongs to them. We got an example. For example, there are very many desks here, there, and they are coming from different classes, as you know. You might say, that wooden one belongs to them, so it is theirs. Then we got our next sentence. We said, those shoes belong to Mrs. Mugabe, which means maybe she's the one who bought those shoes. And then, with our possessive pronoun, we say, we're supposed to get the answer, and we say, it is hers. It is hers. That's what you're supposed to say. Because the shoes belong to Mrs. Mugabe, so it is hers. Let's continue with our next words of the possessive pronoun. We are going to read a sentence together. We go. This beautiful gown belongs to you. This beautiful gown belongs to you. So if it belongs to you, with our possessive case we say, it is yours. We are looking at our possessive pronoun words. Let's get our next sentence. Our next sentence. I know very many of you enjoy mangoes, more especially when they are ripe, though even those ones which are not ripe, you enjoy them. Let's read our sentence together. These big mangoes belong to us. We read the sentence together again. These big mangoes belong to us. If it belongs to us, the big mangoes, so in our possessive case, what do we say? We say, they are ours. Because the mangoes are many, so we say, they are ours. That is the possessive pronoun case words which we have tried to look at. Can we read through our possessive sentences, possessive pronoun sentences? Our first one we said, it is mine. And we said mine, that is the pronoun, the possessive pronoun. Our next one, it is theirs. Something is missing here, let's put it there. It is theirs. And let's underline our word. We underline our word correctly. Remember always to make your work neat. Yes. Then our next one, we are just reading the sentences in the possessive pronoun. We read it together. It is hers. What is that? What belongs to her? It is hers. So let's underline our word. We continue. It is yours. It is yours. What is that? The beautiful gown belongs to you. That means it is yours. We are trying to describe what belongs to you. That is our word. Next, they are ours. What is that? The mangoes, which means those mangoes belong to us, therefore they are ours. We underline our possessive case. Now, my friends, thanks for being good pupils. We have gone through our possessive pronoun words, whereby we are trying to look at the different words we use to describe the people or the objects. And our topic of describing people and objects. Remember, we are looking at adjectives. And what is an adjective word? That's the word we use to describe different things, like the object, like the people. And today we have tried to look at the possessive pronouns. We picked very few. But I know you'll be able to pick more. Like the ones we picked today. We have picked mine, and we got the sentence. We also picked theirs. We wrote the sentence. We also picked hers, yours, and lastly, we have used ours. I hope you'll be able to discover what belongs to somebody, and then you put it under the possessive pronoun words. Thanks for being with me in my school. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Let's meet next time. God bless you.
Sarah says, abused and exploited children need immediate help to stop such abuse. That's all, kids. Bye-bye.
Dear children, this is Auntie Jovita, your friend, your mentor, and your mother. During this lockdown, many people have come up with different projects that have kept them busy, and this could be one of the projects you do for yourselves. You can have rabbits, rare chicken, and by the end of the lockdown, you have a project of your own under your name. You could ask for sponsorship or for help from mommy, from daddy, from your guardian, or even your savings, because you don't need a lot to start such a project. And you start small. You don't have to have so many things. You start with a cock and a hen. They were just 2, now they have 10 chicks. There were 2 rabbits, now there are 6 rabbits. And they are beautiful things to own. You need to enjoy your lockdown so that you have a story to tell at the end of the day. Stay safe, stay home, and be good children.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Senchu points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm teacher Judith and we are going to learn mathematics. We are dealing with whole numbers and we are learning how to write whole numbers in words. It is important, boys and girls, that you learn how to write whole numbers in words because you may have to bank your money, you may have to write how much you've banked, so you have to learn how to write whole numbers in words. If we can look at our example again about how to write whole numbers in words. It says, write 60,425 in words. In our lesson for today, we are going to consider 5-digit numbers. 5-digit numbers. This is 60,425. Write the number in expanded form. After you've expanded it, then you can easily write it. We write 60,000 in figures, change it to words, and it is 60,000. Then write 400 in figures. And how do we write 400 in words? This is 400. 400. How do we write 20 in words? This is the figures, 20, and then the word is 20. And then we write 5 as 5. F-I-V-E, 5. After you've done that, come down and write it as one sentence. 60,425. I hear some children say 60,425. We don't have and. Don't write the word and there. Don't include the word and. Just say 60,425. Let's look at another example. Remember, we said it is important to sound out your number before you attempt to write it. Sound it out. This is 15,540. 15,540. Write 15,540 in words. First, write the number in expanded form. So we have 15,000 plus 500 plus 40. $15,540. After you've done that, you are going to put your words together as one sentence to write 15,540. So our answer is 15,540. 15,540. Let's go for our break. We shall continue from there when we come back.
Time now for Fan Fact.
Welcome back, children, from your break. I hope you've enjoyed and that you've relaxed a bit. Before you went for your break, we were learning how to write these numbers in words. It's important to learn how to write them in words because everywhere you have to use these numbers in words. In the banks, when you're counting your money, when you are writing how much you've banked, you have to know how to write these figures in words. And our last example was about writing 15,540 in words. So our answer is 15,540. 15,540. The next number says, write 80,004 in words. write 80,004 in words. Sound out the number before you attempt to write it. It is 80,004, 80,004. So write it in words. Expand it first. It is 80,000 plus 4. 80,000 plus 4. Why are we saying it's 80,000 plus 4? Because we have 4 under the ones, the place value of ones. Under the tens, we have 0. That's why I've not added anything. Under the hundreds, we have 0. This is thousands and 10,000s. So we are going to write these in figures. I beg your pardon, we are going to write these in words. Our number is 80,004. Don't forget the place values as we write these numbers. This one we said was ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and this is 10,000s. 10,000s. This is 4, and 4 is under the ones. So we are going to write our words as one sentence to write 80,004. So our answer to this number in words is 80,004. 80,004. 80,004. I want to give you a short activity, and I see whether you can now clearly write figures in words. I want you to write these numbers in words. Think about them as we go for our break. We shall continue from there when we come back.
Let's have some fun with numbers. So what's the answer, kids?
Welcome back, children, from your break. Before you went for your break, we were learning how to write figures in words, and I had given you a short activity which I told you to think about as you enjoyed your break. I hope you've got the answers to these numbers, and I want us to see how we can write these numbers in words. Remember, we said it is important to sound out your number first before you write it. Our first number is 78,000. 78,000. $78,000. This one is very easy. There is no way you are going to expand it. Just get down and write it in words as 78,000. $78,000. We have written this number in words. It is in words here, and the figure form is as 78,000. 78,000. Number 2, we have 55,500. 55,500. Our next number is 55,500. Come down, write it in expanded form. So how do we write this in words? We are going to write this in words. $55,500. That is 500. After you've done that, come down and write it as one sentence. 55,500. So our answer is 55,500. 55,500. $55,500, and our last number is 11,111. 11,111. Write this number in expanded form. Plus 100 plus 11, 11,111. So we are going to write these in words. So our answer is 11,111. $11,111. 11,111. Children have so many numbers. We have so many 5-digit numbers. In your free time, I want you to do more practice in writing such numbers in words. Thank you for following. Until we meet again, go and do more practice. Goodbye for now.
Sarah says children who have lost their parents should be helped to live happily like all other children. That's all, kids. Bye-bye.